and welcome back to another episode of the Glow Up Guide podcast. So, today's episode is all about a little bit of a mid year reset because even if it's shocking, at least it's shocking to me. But we're halfway done with this year. Actually, no. Right now, it's more like we are 7 months done with this year instead of halfway done. So, there is 5 months of the year left. That is kind of crazy. It feels like yesterday that I was freaking crashing out about New Year's content and it was January and stuff, but nope, it is now 100 degrees out and freaking July, closer to August actually. 6 months, 7 months have somehow already passed us. Well, I mean, yeah, it's closer to 7 months now that have passed. It's in the middle of summer, so that's kind of crazy. I cannot be the only one that feels like this year has gone by so darn fast, but anyways, this is also a little reminder to log in if you haven't already, because even if you had goals in the beginning of the year and haven't really done anything to achieve them, you can still make those things happen within the next 5 months if you lock in like now. Or maybe you were super logged in and motivated at the beginning of the year and I just kind of let that slip. That's perfectly okay. That's the kind of situation I am in right now. So yeah, and before we move on, let's do podcast updates, life updates. So for podcast updates, we're almost at 1,500 days, which is a goal I was hoping to achieve by the end of the year, but with all luck, it could happen by the end of the summer or actually by the end of the month. I was hoping the end of the month, but the trade that might stretch. So yeah, right now I think I got like what 1,460 plays. Yeah, it says 1,463, so we're getting pretty close. I mean, yeah, so just keep listening, I guess. Rate, review, follow, share this podcast with everyone you know because that way I can drive more people into knowledge that will better their life and send this to people you care about to help them better their lives. So yeah. Anyways, so I have been behind on this podcast for about 3 months now. That's not good. It's been 3 months and I still haven't caught up, but I have really been trying to get caught up with this, and so far my efforts have kind of been useless, but now I think I'm actually catching up, so I think I will be able to start doing episodes every Sunday, recording them on Sundays and then publishing them on Mondays. So I think I'm actually catching up. And then Instagram, I posted an Instagram post for my last episode, and apparently I didn't put. I thought I posted like at the beginning of the year. Apparently, I posted in the beginning of July, right? I apparently hadn't posted anything since November of last year, which is a little bit concerning for me, like the end of November last year. So I really need to get back on track with Instagram, and I'm really working on it. It's just like coming up with posts that's such a struggle for me. So if you guys have any ideas for what you would like to see on Instagram from me, definitely let me know. Email me or follow me and DM me on Instagram. So that's something because like I just don't know what people want to see on Instagram, so I can't like do anything with that. Not very experienced with social media. Anyway, so life updates. My gosh, it has been literally like I don't even know how many weeks, probably like about 3 weeks I think since the last episode was out. So that's a little bit concerning, and a lot has happened in those 3 weeks. A lot happens in the summer because summer is just summer. Anyways, so a few days after I published the last episode for July 4th, I ran a 5K. It didn't really go great because I think I ate too much before that, and I had like a really bad stomach cramp after mile 1, and I nearly just like quit at nearly mile 2, but I finished it. It took about 35 minutes, so not that great considering I want to do cross country in the fall, but I'm really hoping to improve, and also I need to make less mistakes when it comes to eating too close to running because I keep doing that and it causes a lot of problems. It makes me struggle and suffer a lot, so need to work on that. And what else? I went to the mall a few days after that, and I bought more t-shirts. I bought a solid gray, like, fitted top from Hollister, and then at Aeropostale, they had, like, buy one, get two free on t-shirts, so I got more t-shirts. So that was that, and I have now bought 11 new tops this summer, so I have officially quit buying clothes for the summer. The next time I'm buying clothes is when it's back to school time. So that's that. And anyways, what else has happened? And then that same week, actually, I got heat exhaustion. So last summer it was heat stroke, and this summer it is heat exhaustion. Wonder what kind of freaking heat related illness I'm gonna get next summer at this rate. I know it's because I'm probably not drinking enough water, but that's something I really need to work on because I struggle really bad when I work out in excessive heat. Um, so that's not very fun. But heat exhaustion happened and it sucked. I couldn't run for about 5 days. I missed one of my cross country like team workout meetup things, and yeah, and I'm still like recovering. Like it's so a struggle every time I run in the heat, and I am going so slow because I am just dying. And today after my run, I felt like I was gonna collapse. So that's not good, but I'm pushing through. Just pushing through because I have cross country tryouts in a week and a half, and I'm not about to start slowing down now. Let's just hope I don't get heat exhaustion for my cross country tryouts. That would be absolutely terrible. Anyways, so I've been hanging out with my friends a bunch too. That's been most of my summer, and actually I've hung out with people like the past 3 days in a row. So that's why I haven't been able to get an episode up because I've just been busy. Um, what else? Yeah, so my cross country like morning workout things, those also started. The beginning of the month, like the second week of the month, that's when they started. So yeah, I've been having to wake up early like twice a week, so that's not fun, but yeah. And oh, I took an online class and I painted I painted a piece of toast last week, so that was fun. I haven't painted anything in so long. I literally have no idea how long it's been since I last painted something, but that was just so fun, and it just reminded me how much I love to paint. So that's something I've been trying to get back into, like painting, because I forgot how much fun it was to paint, just like painting. And the toast still isn't done, and it kind of looks terrible, but that doesn't matter because I'm doing something. I'm probably gonna post a picture of it on Instagram at some point when it's done, and I'm really hoping to finish it this summer because yeah, I do have a lot of unfinished paintings, so that's something I need to work on. Anyways, what else has happened? And I'm volunteering at the library, my local library this summer, and my weekly shifts actually started today. Yeah, so that was pretty fun, I guess. What else? Yeah, okay, so before moving on, let's do one thing we're grateful for and one thing we're happy about, plus our book of the week. So, one thing I'm grateful for is, let's see, one thing I'm grateful for is just the fact that it's summer and life is just good, I guess. I don't know. I love summer because there's no school, the weather's nice, except when there's heat strokes. I mean, not heat strokes, heat waves and stuff, and when it's raining, the rain sucks because it's just been raining nonstop. But this week, there's no rain, and I am so happy about that. Like, I have never been happier about the weather because it has just been raining nonstop for the past. Well, not nonstop, but like it's been raining literally every day. Um, for the past, I don't even know how long, and we finally have a week with no rain. It's supposed to rain this weekend again, so that's fun. But let's hope it doesn't. Because I don't like rain. Rain is just mean. Because when I'm in the summer, I want to be outside, and I can't be outside if it's pouring rain on my face. Because that just makes it not fun to be outside. And I'm just like, I'm gonna go curl up in a ball inside and read a book. So that was that. Anyways, and one thing I'm happy about, let's see. I got a Slurpee today. That made me pretty happy because it was really hot outside and the Slurpee was cold, so it was refreshing and yeah. I, um yeah, and anyways, our book of the week is, let's see here. Our book of the week is My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. It's a really good book and it's about Taylor. Okay, so Taylor is an elementary school teacher at a private school, and she and her younger brother are just on vacation in Cape Cod, but they discover a corpse, a dead body in their freaking rental house, like about 5 minutes into the freaking vacation. So, yeah, and now there's a bounty hunter, a very mean and cruel one, that has arrived on a motorcycle to catch the killer, and he refuses to believe Taylor can be helpful despite her countless hours of true crime podcast listening. Not to mention a fulfilling teaching career of wrangling second graders. So it's the bounty hunter and the school teacher, the murder solving team no one asked for. But thanks to these pesky attempts on my life, we're stuck together come hell or high tide. I'm just here to do a baby job. I'm just here to do a job, not babysit an amateur sleuth. although it's becoming less and less of a hardship to have her around. Sure, she's stubborn, distracting, and can't stay out of harm's way. She's also brave and beautiful and reminds me of the home I left behind 3 years ago. In other words, the insatiable hunger and protectiveness she is waking up in me is a threat to my peace of mind. Before I sink any deeper into this dangerous attraction, I need to solve this murder and get back on the road. But will fate take her from me before I realize the road has been leading to her all along? So that was most of the um, synopsis or whatever for the book, but it's a really good book. I definitely recommend you read it if you love romance novels. So yeah, anyways, moving on. It has been 10 and a half minutes, so yeah. So first up is reflecting on the first 6 months of the year, or the first 7 months of the year, because reflection is the only way to move forward, because sometimes to move forward we have to look backwards. Anyways, think about how the first 6 months of this year have been. Maybe they were amazing. Maybe they were super sad and super depressing. Maybe you don't even want to talk about it or think about it. For me, the first 6 or 7-ish months of the year were kind of chaotic, not gonna lie. The first few months were fine, but once April started, my life was a literal disaster. I had track and SOL prep and hours upon of homework, and life tasks like cleaning and whatnot. It was extremely chaotic. My life still is chaotic and probably will be for a very long time, probably forever. Or at least that's what it feels like. Some days it feels like I barely have the time to freaking breathe. My first 6 months went from too much free time to absolutely none of it, but there were also lots of fun times I can think about from the past year. There were a bunch of birthday parties I went to, and there was one time that I ran into one of my friends who I hadn't seen in ages, literal ages. There was my 8th grade dance, and we had a sleepover afterwards. There were lots more fun things that happened these past 6 months that I could go on forever talking about them. And now we're halfway done with the year, and even though the days feel like a year on their own, the years go by so fast. And my mom keeps talking about how she still feels like it was yesterday that I was 5 and playing outside all the time. But now I feel insanely old. I'm 14, so I'm not old at all, but it sure feels that way. So I've been rambling about nonsense for a hot second, but the point is to think, and I mean really, really think hard about the past 6 months, past 7 months. I keep doing that, past half year, and to think, like, really just analyze it, maybe overanalyze it. I don't know. So yeah, what have they been like for you? Maybe you went on a lot of trips. Maybe you accomplished some huge goal or did something that meant a lot to you. I ran a 5K for July 4th, and that meant something to me because running is literally a part of my soul at this point. Think about the goals you set at the beginning of the year. Maybe you wrote them down somewhere. Pull out that list and take a moment to think about the goals and what you were thinking when you set them. What were your intentions with these goals? Are they still relevant to you or not anymore? Do you even remember why you set those goals? As a matter of fact, if you're one of those journaling girls, pull out your journal right now and use that to reflect. Write down the questions I just told you guys to think about and answer them. Journals are great tools. Not my thing, so I don't have a journal, but if that is your thing, then put it to some use right now. One major thing I'm trying to stress, though, is to put emphasis, very heavy emphasis, on your accomplishments and all the good things that have happened this year, because there should be a lot of them. You just have to look for those positive things. When I'm asking you to think about these past 6 months, you might be inclined to just focus on, oh, why didn't I do this, or I didn't do that, and I really wanted this to happen, but it didn't. We're human, so of course we're always inclined to look for the negative. The negative is just easier to see for us, it's easier to focus on, it just takes over. So break that pattern to start to think, oh yeah, I did this, and that little thing happened, and I remember this time, this memory. Think that way instead. Think about what went right instead of what went wrong, and that will make all the difference. Next thing I wanted to talk about are vision boards. Vision boards are such an amazing tool for goal setting and also visualization. They really work. I actually wanted to make a vision board for this year, but I never did. So if you're also in that same situation, it is not too late. It is never too late. Honestly, in my opinion, it's better to make a vision board now because a lot of things change in 6 months. You can make a new vision board that is actually relevant to you right now, or just have the oh my gosh, I can't speak. Or you can just have the one that worked about 6 months ago. So that's something I'm gonna do ASAP, make a vision board, because I did one for 2023, and I think a lot of things happened that year that I wanted from that vision board. So vision boards, visualization, all of that, it really works. If you've been wanting to make a vision board, then just do it. Now is really the time. Honestly, better now than never at this point. That's what I say for anything that happens way too late. I didn't start studying for my math SOL until about 3 days before the SOL. I was just like, you know what, better now than ever, so I started studying. I passed advanced and got a 528 out of 600, so just do it now. It's better than not doing it at all. The same concept really applies to anything in life. Pinterest is actually so amazing for creating a vision board. There is so much inspiration on Pinterest for literally anything. You can find tons and tons of super cute photos on Pinterest that you can use on your vision board, and the vision board will look amazing. Just save these photos you want to a Pinterest board and save those photos to your device. Or another option is to do a physical vision board. I made a physical vision board the one time I did that because I prefer physical things instead of digital ones. Plus, I can just hang it up above my desk and see it all the time because I'm in my room for a good chunk of the day. Or you can just do both. I might end up doing both. You can set your vision board as your laptop and phone wallpaper and also hang it up in a wall in your bedroom. I think I'm just going to make a physical vision board and then take a nice photo of it to use as my phone background and my laptop background. I think that would work best because then you get a ton of exposure to these goals and are constantly reminded of them. Speaking of exposure, I've been reading, or actually I finished The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin, and something she talked about were like passwords. There are certain passwords that you remember all the time. You use these passwords every single day, probably multiple times a day. So instead of setting the passwords to random numbers or your dog's name, why not use that as a way to make yourself reminded of your goals each day every time you log onto your phone or laptop or whatever it may be? That was actually a pretty cool idea, and that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. So something you can consider them. It's definitely not a bad idea. I thought it was really cool. Anyways, going back to vision boards. Maybe if you had already created a vision board, breaking that down, I had a small list of goals, not really anything huge, but there are a lot more goals I set for myself to achieve by the end of the year, really within the last month or so. Most of them are to do with running, but running makes me happy, so I'm fine with that. But write down these goals in a list and break them down into 3 sections or groups. The first group is the things you have already achieved. What have you done in the year so far? For me, I ran another 5K. I passed advanced in all 5 of my SOLs. I got the presidential award for my grades, which isn't something I wanted or expected to happen, but it did. I have also been reading a lot more nonfiction books, and I have gotten back into doing puzzles and painting, and I've also been cooking and baking a lot more too. I bought heavier weights for strength training, and I hit 1,000 plays in this podcast, and I'm now about to hit 1,500. I've accomplished a good number of things this year. These aren't super huge or meaningful, but they matter to me, and that's what counts. The next group is things that are in progress. For me, the 10K training. I might have to reconsider that one though. Maybe when the weather cools down a bit. I don't really know, but I'm working on it. Getting back into scrapbooking. I have my minimalist scrapbook journal thing I'm doing to document this summer, so there's that. It's progress. I'm starting an Etsy store. This is a fairly new goal of mine. I'm working on it and I'm actually doing pretty well. And then the final group to think about are the goals that have not even been started or forgotten about. I wanted to be able to wake up by 6:30 a.m. at the end of this year. That is not going to happen. There's no way I am waking up at 6:30 a.m. by the end of this year, and I just don't need to. Maybe I need to wake up at like 7 or 7:30 for high school, but that's it. Still early, just not Pinterest that girl early type thing. Another goal I had at the beginning of the year for myself was to eat more protein. I just can't. It is insanely hard to find vegetarian sources of protein. I am also a pretty picky eater. I don't like Greek yogurt. I don't like legumes and most kinds of beans. Peanuts are fine, only sometimes they get stuck in my Invisalign clips a lot. I hate oats, and it's not like me not eating protein has been such a huge problem. I mean, I'm functioning. I have built a lot of muscle over the last 2 years. Could I have done a lot better with more protein? Yes, I could have, but I can't bring myself to care enough, and I also don't care enough to force feed myself Greek yogurt and tofu. I don't like protein shakes either, and neither does my mom, so there's that. That goal got thrown out. I think these goals that I've just forgotten about have been thrown out at this point. Nothing that I would want to have done and accomplished by the end of the year with this category. But reflect on those 3 categories, and that can help you think about everything on your vision board a lot clearer. And the next thing is to create plans to achieve your goals. We've done the reflection part. Now we've done the vision board part. Now it is the planning part. There's the stuff you already have accomplished, the stuff that you're working on, and the stuff that hasn't even been started or thrown out. Maybe you want to wake up early and become a morning person, or early riser, morning girly, lots of terms for it. Speaking of which, I read in Atomic Habits or another habits book about how tying a habit you want to develop to an identity you want for yourself can make it much easier to achieve that habit. Instead of saying I want to wake up early, try saying I want to become an early riser. Saying that you want to become an early riser ties that to your identity, ties it to who you are instead of just being a character trait, I guess. I don't know. I would rather say that I'm an early riser instead of saying, oh yeah, I wake up early. So if you're trying to be more organized, instead of saying that you want to become more organized, be more organized, you want to become an organized person, a tidy person. Okay? Instead of saying you want to get more done, say you want to become a productive person. It just works. Anyways, if you have a larger goal on your list, such as anything that's super time consuming and intensive, like running a marathon or something super huge like switching careers, you want to break that down. Just saying. Like just saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna run a marathon this year, or saying I'm gonna completely switch my job this year is kind of terrifying. You're not gonna do it if it terrifies you. So break that big goal down into smaller, more manageable chunks. You probably hear it all the time, but breaking things down really works. And you've heard it a lot for a good reason, because it works. So let's say you want to run a marathon. Do you even own running shoes? Do you even have clothes you can wear when you run? A lot of people own fancy running outfits, but not me. I run in random t-shirts and shorts or leggings and a hoodie. Works perfectly fine. Running a marathon in 1 year is very hard, but also possible, so I am sticking with it for my example. Great, you got the basics down. Now, to make yourself comfortable with training for a marathon, because it is hard work, you need to develop a habit of running consistently for a few months. Start at maybe running 3 times per week, then you can bring it up to 5 or something like that. Most race training plans I've seen require you to train like 5 days a week, maybe 6. Now that you have a foundation down, you can find a marathon training plan or create your own if you think you can, then follow through with it. Keep doing the runs and putting in the work, even when you want to quit. Actually, especially when you want to quit. When you want to quit, that is exactly the moment you should push even harder and harder than you ever would. If I get tired on any one of my runs, I'm like, screw this, and I just go faster. And then you run the actual marathon and celebrate. Apply that sort of break it down thing to any goal you want to set. Timings and deadlines are also really important in your plans to achieve your goals. Deadlines are actually very effective. Normally, for my math course that I am taking over the summer, one of the module assessments would take me hours. Now I set a timer for 2 hours and freak out at some point and miraculously get it done in pretty close to 2 hours. Saves me a lot of time, especially considering I'm in a severe time crunch now and I'm constantly staying 2 weeks behind. But if you don't set deadlines on your goals, they become completely and utterly useless and worthless too. There is no longer any point in them. We set goals for a reason. Do not defeat that reason. So our overall deadline for these goals is probably the end of the year, but we need deadlines within those deadlines. Maybe 3 months maybe 3 months into the year something gets done, and then the next step is worked on the next 3, something like that. If there's things that you need to do in order to get to your major goal, set some deadlines on when those things need to get done. Deadlines really work, unless you're the type of person who doesn't respond well to deadlines. Then figure out another way. I guess I don't really got advice for that because I'm very much a deadline person. Next thing I want to talk about is like decluttering your living space for the second 5 months of the year. I don't know. Decluttering is just so important and it's not talked about enough. I don't mean the kind of cleaning where you're just like, oh, dust the things, put things away. I'm talking about washing the carpets, laundry, washing the walls, dishes, washing everything really, deep cleaning. Super deep cleaning. Clean everything, go through all the junk. This kind of cleaning, it needs to be done at least once or twice a year. Something I wanted to do this summer, I mean, it's not very fun, but it can be if you choose to make it fun and choose to let it be fun. Playing music or a podcast in the background is the great way to make cleaning more fun. You might be cleaning while listening to this. In that case, good for you. Music and podcasts are a great way to make a ton of boring things fun. Anyways, cleaning must be done. You can avoid it as long as you want, but sooner or later it's going to come to haunt you. So, anyways, anytime I go more than 3 days without cleaning my room, it gets so dirty I can barely walk without tripping on something. It becomes less of a bedroom and more of an obstacle course. So that's fun. But I really need to deep clean my room because there are so many spaces just full of complete junk or papers. Yeah, the thing of cardboard boxes at the foot of my bed, under my desk, the organizer under my desk, the drawers on my bed frame. So much junk is collected in these spaces and more that I really need to go through. Deep cleaning a space is a ton of work, but it is so worth it and so satisfying when you are finally done. It's just like the best feeling when you're finally done and everything's all nice and neat and junk isn't everywhere. The best way to deeply clean a space or an entire apartment or a house or whatever it may be is to do it over the course of a few days to a week. Ideally, you want to set aside like a weekend and do nothing but clean. That way you stay super motivated and it gets done quickly and it isn't like a lingering task, or it just or like it's not, and that way it doesn't become a task that just doesn't get done. Like you, that way you stay motivated like super quickly, like momentum keeps you going. For me, the last time I cleaned my room, I spread all the tasks out over a week. Now I can probably do it in a weekend or just a few random days because it's summer break. Not much else that needs to be done, but one day I would tackle one area like my desk, and the next day it was the bed and the area surrounding that, etc., etc. I just kept going until each space was cleaned. This is a great thing to do as well. Split each room into zones and tackle each zone at a time instead of focusing on the end goal, um, which is deep cleaning out your entire living space, whatever that may be to you. Focus on one win at a time. Think about cleaning out your desk as if that's the only thing you have to do. That way, with the small wins, each time you do something, that momentum just keeps you going. One more thing besides decluttering, like space decluttering, is digital decluttering. I kid you not, it has been a literal year since I've gone through my photos, and now my storage space is 60% used. Not fun. But digital decluttering is also super important because we spend a ton of time online these days. You want to make sure there aren't a whole bunch of random things that you really don't need on your devices. I know for me, I have a ton of emails I need to go through. They take up space, and so many of those emails are just purely useless. I probably subscribed to things a while ago, unsubscribed, and I still get those stupid emails. So go through your emails, delete the nonsense, unsubscribe from nonsense you don't need, and have a nonsense-free email. Another huge one is photos. I have tons and tons and tons of photos and large videos that I don't need. I also have way too many duplicate photos. It's just chaos in my Google Photos, so that's something I really need to get on top of. You should also go through your files or like your Google Drive. I need to go through both of these. You probably have a ton of huge files taking up space that you don't need. They're also probably useless. I have so many old podcast recordings that I can probably delete, and old Google Docs and whatever in my Google Drive. The point is, clear it out. If you think you won't need it, trust me when I say you won't. Another thing is time management and productivity stuff. This is always super important any time of the year, and it's also super important to your goals. If you want to accomplish stuff, you need to be able to manage your time really well and be productive, especially now that for some of your goals, you might only have 5 or so months instead of a whole year. So you might be on a time crunch. I don't know. You need to be able to manage your time efficiently and be efficient with your time, because this is something I am thankfully good at and always have been good at, because especially this past year I have had no other option but to be super efficient and productive. Otherwise, everything goes south and my life turns to hell. Who knows, maybe one of your goals was to improve your time management skills and increase your productivity. I actually have 3 episodes on time management and productivity and another one on being productive. So definitely go listen to those. All great episodes in the first 3-part series. Took a ton of work, so please go listen. But these days, well, maybe not right now because it's summer, but we need to be productive because we are all always so busy. There's constantly so much to get done, and there's still things that get pushed to 3 weeks or even 3 months too late. So I really need to stop doing that. Procrastinating never benefited anyone. Honestly, I think that these days the reason no one ever can seem to get anything done is because there's so much wasted time these days. I thought I never wasted any time, but I did. I wasted tons and tons of time that could have been spent on so many more useful things. For me, social media is a huge one. Like, that's a big time sucker for me. So is lying on the floor because I don't want to do my work. I do that all the time. Waste hours. I waste so much time on those two things every single day. I think I've gotten better about the social media part, but not the lying on the floor doing nothing constantly part. I'm trying though. I'm trying very hard, but look for the areas where you waste the most time. Social media might also be a big time for sucker for you. Or maybe it's just binge watching TV. Figure it out and find ways to limit it. Try deleting the social media apps. You will still have your accounts in case you need them, but that app won't be on your phone, and that way you won't get notifications from it. Plus, you make it a lot harder for yourself to get on the social media app. There was this YouTube video I watched years ago that talks about this 20-second rule. If you want to make yourself do something, make it 20 seconds easier. And if you want to make yourself not do something, make it 20 seconds harder. 20 seconds is a tiny amount of time, but it matters in this case. It really works. If you want to go to the gym in the morning, set out your clothes and pack your bag the night before. Or just work out at home. If I try to work out in a gym, I don't think I would work out anywhere near every day. Maybe once or twice a week at best, or probably not at all. I would just be like, I'm not going to work out today, and just stop at some point. Make it as easy as possible for you to actually do that thing. This is why I work out at home, because I could never stick with working out in a gym. If You want to quit scrolling mindlessly on social media. Like I said, delete the apps, disable notifications, do not disturb mode, do something like that to make it as not appealing as possible. I couldn't find words at first. And make it super hard for you to just scroll mindlessly. I am getting so off track. Anyways, but using a calendar is really useful. I use my Google Calendar for literally everything. Every random thing goes in there. Otherwise, I will not remember it. I don't think it's a good thing that I rely on my calendar this much, but oh well, I don't really care. If it weren't for the calendar, I wouldn't remember literally anything at all. To-do lists or task lists, whatever you want to call them. Those are great. I have 3 different to-do lists on Google Keep for every single day. Google Keep. I can't speak. One of them is just like personal tasks, like texting people, cleaning, whatever it is. The next one is homework, and the third one is podcast tasks that need to be done that day. This system is something that works great for me, and I actually remember to do things, even if it takes forever for me to get them done. The point is that these tasks get done at some point. Calendars and to-do lists are 90% of my good time management, though, but you can do just whatever works for you. Final thing I wanted to talk about, a mid-year glow up can never hurt, and it's always fun. I remember talking about glow up tips at the start of the year because it feels good to head into a new year or a new phase of life feeling good about yourself and confident. So I want to share a few of my mid-year glow up tips because why the heck not? If there are like appointments you haven't done in a while, maybe your nails or hair or tanning appointments or something, get those done. Get your nails done cute for the summer season. There is so much good nail inspo on Pinterest. Get your hair done. Maybe change it up a bit. Maybe you want to cut it shorter or go lighter or darker. Get some crazy colors in your hair. Just go for it. Get those appointments done. Update your skincare routine for the summer. This is not the case for me, but a lot of people tend to use heavier products in the winter because it's drier out and your skin is suffering. In the summertime, though, you probably need to switch to lighter products if that's something you do. I use the same cleanser and moisturizer year round because my skin is just that dry, but it's been working perfectly fine and I'm not breaking out or anything, so I don't really care. So maybe you want to switch out your skincare products, getting a facial if you want. Those sound pretty fun, and there are lots of different facials that can do varying things for your skin concerns. You can also experiment with new makeup looks. Makeup is fun in the summer. You don't really need to do too much because you'll sweat it off anyways. I haven't really been wearing much makeup this summer. Like, I only curl my lashes, put mascara on, and put on some lip balm if I remembered. But the past 2-ish weeks, all I've been to is the pool, and friends have come over sometimes. That's literally it. So I haven't really been wearing any makeup. It feels very freeing. Again, if you wear foundation or concealer, consider going for lighter products or just forgetting about them altogether. But if you choose to wear those products, definitely try to find ones with lighter products with SPF in them. SPF in makeup is pretty much useless, but it can't hurt. Face masks are also great. I love DIY face masks. They work so much better than store-bought stuff. There are probably millions of recipes out there on the internet that you can try. They're so much cheaper and just so much better for you and your skin, and face masks work wonders for your skin. Just experiment something with new in your routine and do something glow up if you want to. So that was all I had to say for this episode today on a mid-year reset, and I hope it helps you out a bit. To end our episode today, I have a quote for you guys from an unknown author, and it goes, "The best time to reflect on the past and to plan for the future is always now." Bye, guys. Rate, review, follow, and share this podcast. Drink some water. Please, please, please go follow me on Instagram at the Glow Up Guide Podcast. And I love you all.